the war is on. We saw this week we had Israel go against Iran and all of that. I'm sure this is not a political channel, and I'm sure a lot of channels will be covering all the analysis on both sides. I'm not a war expert, nor do I want to take any sides. The side I'm taking is the side of smart money, and it's the side of trading and investors, just like you are. And because we are here to make money. But at the end of the day, all of this still affects us as traders, us as investors, and it affects our bags, frankly speaking. And the war is on, pretty much. The war is on, from my own perspective, from institutional traders, institutional investors against, and market makers really against traders like us. And that is obviously affecting the price. And that is what is even we can see with the huge jump that we witnessed on Thursday, on Wednesday, on Thursday pretty much. Although everything started all the way from Wednesday and into Thursday and all of this. And we saw all that downtrend across the board. And you can see also in the Ethereum chart, we also saw from Wednesday, that's when we started to dump. So all this war rhetoric, and we see all over Twitter that, X now, and we can see that a lot of nation states are even shit posting and bull posting against each other. All this war rhetoric and war drums is just beating across the board. Frankly speaking, from another hat and looking at it from geopolitics and analysis, one can even argue that all of that is mainly rhetoric and mainly, just, how do I put it, distraction. It's just distraction against the debt monetization of the whole world and the global economy that is oncoming, and reason why we are even in crypto and blockchain industry as a whole. So right now we are in war. We look at it in the terms, and I think it's best for us to even look at it that way, and to look at the markets and to look at anything we are seeing on the chart as a wartime economy. So right now we are in war zone. I have my hat on, and it says liberty or death, saying right now we are in war zone. We have to look at this market from that perspective and look at it in the terms of market makers are the enemies and what they are doing to shake us out of our positions and how to get us out of and how to get us liquidated. That is what the market makers want. So we look at it from that perspective. What are they doing and what are they expecting? That is how we are going to approach the market. We are in war zone. It's time to look for our sniper rifles and position and be quiet and wait for when the time is right. When we can see the general on the other end. We are not aiming for pawns. We are not aiming for little soldiers on the enemy's front. We are looking for the general. Once he raises his head, and in that perspective, looking at the Bitcoin chart, let's use this analogy literally to actually look at it. So when the general raises his head is perfect time when it comes to our line that we have drawn, which we'll be looking. We can see right now we are moving sideways. You can see the RSI is looking like it's moving sideways movement. So say we continue to move sideways movement, and we continue this sideways movement we move for the next 2-3 days, kind of, until we get to something around 104 thereabout. That's when Bitcoin has to make a decision. Either we break this trend line, this diagonal trend line, to the downside or to the upside. If we break it to the downside, definitely we'll be looking at a 102 eventual support that we have. If we don't break it and we use it as support, we should be looking at a take profit, even and a confirmation of a further upside movement at 105, which is the trend line that I've drawn and I've indicated here with these blue comments you can see on your screen here. So this is how we'll be looking at it. So if the general pops his face at around $104,000 levels and gives us confirmation of the support that is the general, we take the shot. So we are here, we are waiting, we are patient, because that's what snipers do. Snipers are very patient and they are watchful. They don't hesitate. They don't rush. That is the strategy we are taking into the market. So right now is all being like a sniper, waiting and seeing approach. There's a lot of boring time, and as traders, we understand this fundamental aspect of being a trader. A lot of it is all about waiting and seeing and being patient and let the price action come to you. You are confident in your levels. We have been confident so far in our levels already. So that is already a checkbox. We are seeing, and we have been able to back test it. So we can see a lot of confluence with what we have on the market, which is also good, and which is giving us more conviction and confidence in this market. So even when we draw with the Fibonacci extension lines, that is also confirming everything we have seen. So now I do that just to give you guys a glimpse of what I'm seeing in the chart. And what do we see here? Same thing that I'm saying. We bounced off the 107. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. 1 minute. Let me do that again, because we didn't bounce off that. Oh, shit. Okay, here. Yeah. Okay. We literally, well, pretty much the same thing I was about to say. We literally see we went down to the one level and we got support at the 0.786 Fibonacci levels, extension levels. And we can see we are struggling. We have the same trend lines with our box trend line in our bound zone 1, which is 105,683 at literally the level for 0.618 levels. So the 0.618 levels and the 0.786 level is the golden zone. And that is really important. And we seem to be in that level, very, very critical level, and decision making levels for us to watch. So we look for either support or resistance within these levels. That is why this is so important. And right now, these are the times that is very important for us to wait and see approach. Right now, we are just moving sideways levels. RSI is telling us the same thing, pretty much the same thing, even with Ethereum. This is what is happening. Also respecting our trend lines. So we still remain structurally bullish from a long-term perspective. And looking at it from the daily, because as traders, we have to be able to look at it from big macro perspective and now zoning into smaller time frames for us to take trades. I'm not necessarily a small time frame trader because that makes one to be stuck to the screen. Everybody has different strategies and everybody has different time zones they are comfortable with. I'm not really comfortable with the quick moves of the 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minute chart. I'm much more comfortable with looking at it from a bigger perspective. That's why somebody like me, I'm much more of a sniper. I know there's someone like in part of crypto banter like Sheldon Sniper, also the market sniper Francis Hunt. All those are respected traders, and I watch their content and I follow them also for their analysis. And pretty much they say the same thing that I'm spouting to you today, which is a lot of wait and see approach. Watch the market. Let price action come to you. We can see with Ethereum. And what is even price action telling us right now on Ethereum? On the RSI, we are pointing downwards. So expect further movement to the downward. We don't always trade. I've made it a thing and I've made a promise to myself and I've written it in my rule not to trade during the weekend, because the weekend there's a lot of volatility. It's easy to get shaken out. It's easy to lose money. Because remember, right now, if you have been following my trades, and I expect you have been, and watching my videos, we have lost on 2 trades in the past week. One, we shorted, we got stopped out, and the other, we longed on both assets, Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we got lost out. So for now, and for us, it's quite important. Like I always say, capital preservation is key. So we are watching what went wrong, what we did wrong. One of them, I anticipated a short. I was very early to that short and the market went against me at the time. If I kept that trade or I wasn't even stopped out, I would have been able to capitulate on that. I'll be able to make money on that trade if I extended my risk level. So that was the mistake I made, and that is the lesson for me to learn. So if I had increased my stop loss to a much larger stop loss, I would have been able to make money eventually from that trade, and I would have been able to hold that trade for a longer period of time. So that's the lesson I took from that. But for now, going back to the charts, Ethereum is respecting our trend line that we are drawn here. We still are respecting a higher lows. We are still creating higher lows. We had a higher low at 2,300. We have another higher low at 2,400. Now we seem to be creating one. Let's see. I don't want to say where we are right now on this low, but even if we create another higher low, that will be around, say, 2,490. That's higher than the previous 2,396. So we seem to be creating this. So eventually, if we continue to even create a higher low continuously here in this zone, we'll get here. Eventually, if we continue to do this game forever, we'll get here, which will now be tightened. So Ethereum will have to make, the bulls or the bear will have to make a decision if we are popping up or if we are coming down. That is the decision we'll make. We don't know how long this higher low, higher highs saga will continue to play. We don't know how long. That's why we are here watching this market and paying attention to what will be going on so that we make a decision whenever the time is right. And what do we see even across the board? We see a mixed bag of cryptocurrency, green and red across the board. So nothing too is happening. We can see some outliers are jumping out there, like flatcoin. Hype is something everyone is looking about. Maker, a lot of people are looking at that. Of course, meme coins, because flatcoin is like a derivative and something to look forward in the meme coin space. So that is something for us to watch, and we continue to see that. Let's check the Fatcoin is not yet listed on the Hatch platform, but we expect that to be listed anytime soon because there's a trade in Fatcoin, because we can see here Fatcoin seems to be the barometer of meme coins for the Solana chain. So Fatcoin is something that is very, very interesting, something for us to watch in the near term, and we'll continue to watch that. Let's look at Solana and let's see what Solana is doing also. You can see Solana on the daily is also showing us something quite interesting, which is telling us that we seem to be pointing to the downside right now. Immediately from the downside, after pointing downside, we seem to now moving sideways. So we expect much more sideways movement for Ethereum. To be honest, right now across the board, I can't really see any trade that is jumping out to me. Everything is looking sideways. Of course, we're in the weekend, so everything is lackluster. Nothing is jumping right here in our face. We look at the fear and greed index, and we are at 63 levels. So much more higher than yesterday, where we were at 61. And of course, much more higher than last week when we were at 52. So we seem to be much in a better position there. But right now, as we look at everything, we look at it, we are in war zone. Market makers want to take us out, but we have to defend ourselves in our positions and to protect our capital, so the market maker doesn't take our lunch, pretty much. So right now, it's time for us to get prepared. Strap ourselves up, make sure we are ready, load up our guns, load up our capital, and wait and let the general come, let the price action come to us. And I've spotted the positions where we should be taking trades. $104,000 levels for Bitcoin, 105 as a confirmation of a long, and if we break 104, 102 as support, these are the levels we should pay attention to in the near term. This is time for war, guys. We have to make money. Liberty or death. This is Zero to Ferrari. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.